Hello, my fellow classmates. My name is Taylor Falls, and I'll be explaining to you guys how we create energy. Energy is defined as the ability to do work. Cellular respiration provides that energy for all living organisms. And we've all sat through science classes and maybe fallen asleep through them, but cellular respiration is always discussed in biology. It is important because it provides the energy necessary to maintain life. The chemical reaction of this process serves as the foundation for learning how organisms function. Now, as you can see here, I like to keep my notes very colorful and handwritten. That way I can study and understand what I'm learning. These are the basics of cellular respiration: the who, the what, where, how, when, and why. Now, all living things, animals, plants, fungi, take part in this process. We turn glucose into energy. This happens in the mitochondria or near the mitochondria of our cells. We break down the glucose in 3 major steps. We do this process all the time. That way we can have energy to move, to reproduce, to heal, to grow, and to make proteins. Now, since this is a chemical reaction, it has a chemical formula. C6H12O6 plus 6O2 yields 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus 36 ATP. In English, this means that the glucose that we eat and the oxygen that we breathe in react and release the carbon dioxide that we exhale, the water that we may expel, and the energy that we use in our everyday dealings. Now, this process and equation right here may seem a little simple, but in reality, it's a major series of chemical reactions that are broken down into 3 steps. In stage 1, glycolysis is the splitting of glucose, and this glucose is split into 2 pyruvate molecules, 2 ATP molecules or energy molecules, and 2 NADH. Now that last one right there will hold energy until the 3rd phase of cellular respiration. In stage 2, there's a little prep step over here where that 2 pyruvate molecule is broken down a little bit further into 2 acetyl coenzyme A's, which takes us to the Krebs cycle. This is where that acetyl-CoA is broken down further into ultimately into 4 carbon dioxide molecules, which we breathe out, and those 2 energy molecules right there, and more of your energy holders for the next last final step, and your 2 FADH, which will carry electrons to the 3rd step. Notice how glycolysis was outlined in green. This happens in the cytoplasm of our cells. And this Krebs cycle is outlined in pink because this happens in the mitochondria of our cells. Now, our 3rd phase, the electron transport chain, is also outlined in pink, so we know that it happens in our mitochondria. And ultimately, the energy here is broken down, and the electrons here are pumped through proteins and create a stockpile of protons. Now, of course, this little CO2, carbon dioxide, is a byproduct, but the oxygen that we breathe in react with the electrons from this carrier and create our byproduct of water. And the protons that were pumped through the proteins combine with an inorganic phosphate group and ADP in an ATP synthase enzyme in the electron transport chain itself to create 32 ATP, or energy molecules. Now, this is the 3 major steps of cellular respiration. You have your glycolysis, where the 2 pyruvate is broken down or made, and your Krebs cycle, where that's broken down ultimately into carbon dioxide, and your electron transport chain, where in the end a lot of energy is made here. And I hope that you've got the gist of this. Now that you know how energy is made, I hope you use it and make learning fun and enjoyable.